Okay, so, pardon the glasses, I'm actually, horribly drunk at the moment, and this is why I don't want people to see my eyes. Oh, Lord, okay, so we're gonna talk about... So, pardon my stupidity, but let's get down to it. I was in the mood to make a video about another film-related topic, and this is what we're going to talk about today. 4K, and if 4K is necessary. I don't think so. I don't think so at all, and I'm going to prove my point very well. I'm actually not shooting in 4K. I have a 4K camera, this Sony 4K Beast. This thing still shoots some of the best 4K I've ever seen in my entire career thus far. You even have cameras on your smartphones that can shoot 4K, but the software that makes those images, you have to remember that the camera size compared to something like I'm shooting on now is not even in comparison. A camera this small on a smartphone will not produce the same 4K that something on like I'm shooting here. So, do you need 4K? No, I'm actually demonstrating this right now. I have the lights positioned, one bouncing off the wall, another one bouncing angular directly behind me, and one as a key light over here directly on my face. It's all about the light that you are shining. I could compare the image from here on my phone, but you know, that might be a good idea. Hold on 1 second. Let me see, can I put this up here? Like this? Ah! That's smart. I can do that. Hold on. Oh, shit. God damn it, phone. Stay, damn you, stay. There. Okay, well, that's not the best. It's whatever. It's not the best. Is that from over here? Get more oh, damn you, phone. God damn it. Any way I can have someone hold this shit up? God damn it. Okay, now... God, see, here's the thing, guys. God damn it. It doesn't look that great because it's not focusing on what it needs to be focusing on. It's focusing on the light back there. I need it to be focusing right there. Okay, that's the best it's going to get right there. Stay right there, bitch. God damn it. Okay, so... God fucking damn it. Does that look good? Dude, more importantly, do I look good? That's better. Damn it, I really don't like this angle at all. It's not working in there. Okay, let's just do it like this. Is there any way I can have some shit up? The smartphone HD, and then you have the 4K Beast HD. Obviously, the 4K one has better processing. It's just a fucking massive camera, so of course it's going to be bigger than a smartphone. Do I think 4K is necessary? Absolutely not. I think when it came out, I think the party trick was the fact that you can crop in, and it kind of gave filmmakers an excuse to not be framing their shots as neatly. Yeah, I definitely was a part of that, and I definitely got this thing, to crop in. After I've used this 4K powerhouse of a camera for 3 years, it's still just the factor that I bought this thing, you know, I'm more pleased with the image quality rather than the pixel dynamic and ratio. And that leads me to another thing is, how often do I use my 4K on this camera? Because the bigger one can shoot HD in 4K, and so can my smartphone. But how often do I find myself honestly packing this huge thing up instead of just having the convenience of packing my smartphone in my pocket. Honestly, I take my smartphone everywhere, but when it comes to delivering professional, like just the absolute best, where if I have a client, I'm most likely gonna pack the bigger camera. But what I'm trying to say is, when 4K came out, everybody was so fixated on the idea that you can crop into an image, like, so to speak, let's say on the smartphone or here on the bigger camera, that what you're seeing here is 4K, even though that's not. People love the idea that they can shoot farther away and then easily crop into like a shot like here, but in reality the person's all the way back here. So it kind of gave them that excuse, so to speak. But you know, as a professional editor, I think I'm great to answer this. I don't do a lot of cropping in. Normally because I'm setting my shots up. I'm framing my shots how they naturally are instead of cheating, so to speak. So and that's what you should do. Is if you're filming a shot, you gotta set it up right instead of not setting it up right and then using a party feature trick, fucking trick. God damn my speech. But anyway, as a crutch, you know, you can't use these features as a crutch. You can, but it's not technically good. It's not good to do that. But as I was saying, you don't need 4K. 4K is just one of those things that was meant for good marketing. Basically, you know, if you think about it, and you think about how deceitful advertisers are, and how deceitful corporations are, it's brilliant saying, oh, it's higher than HD, and obviously that means to people, oh, I need to have something better than what I already have. When in hindsight, it's not that far in between. I mean, just the fact that I'm filming in HD, and it's all because of the lighting you have. It's the lighting, people. It's not the sensors, it's not the chips, it's what you're doing with your lights. Right now, I have one light over here, one light bouncing off the wall, and one light bouncing off the other side of the wall. I can show you. If I turn off certain lights, you're going to see the difference. So if I turn off the light over here, there goes my other backlight. If I turn off, hold on. If I turn off this light over here, there goes that backlight. See, it's all about how you light it. And see, I'm getting a better picture still from the 4K one since it has a better sensor. But again, don't pay attention to the sensors. So if I turn the one right there back on, I get a better picture. But then I get an even better picture if I turn the third one on. So it's honestly about the light, people. Any good cinematographer will know this. It's honestly about it's about the light that you're putting into the camera rather than the electronics inside your camera. So this new year, I challenge every filmmaker, every photographer I know, don't be so constricted to be shooting in 4K. Make a challenge of yourself next year to instead shoot less than 4K and see if you can nail those shots naturally, like the way that they were meant to be. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this tips and tricks video about whether I believe 4K is still important. I think it's a lovely aspect. I think it's a good thing to have. But if you're using it as a crutch, you're using it for all the wrong purposes. Alright guys, I'm Misha, and have a wonderful new year, and don't get drunk like I am. They're stupid. Happy New Year. God bless. Bye. So next time, I encourage all of you, that means all of you, to be thinking and pointing out your shots better instead of just using 4K all the time. You know, it's all when it comes to about how you're positioning your lights and the light going into the camera. Alright guys, plan smart, be smart, and go out and make something great. And don't use 4K as a crutch. Alright guys, see ya.